Once upon a time, in a small, sleepy town surrounded by dense forests, there was a place known as the Whispering Woods. The locals spoke of it only in hushed tones, warning anyone who dared listen that the forest was alive, not with animals or plants, but with something far more sinister. They said the woods had a voice, one that could lure even the bravest soul into its depths, never to return. For decades, the warnings were enough to keep people away. But every town has its rebels, and Liam was no exception. Liam was a skeptic, a young man who didn't believe in ghost stories or old wives' tales. To him, the Whispering Woods was just another patch of forest, no different from the countless others he'd explored in his adventures. So, when a group of friends dared him to enter the woods at dusk, he didn't hesitate. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and his phone, he set off, confident he'd prove them wrong. The first few steps into the woods felt uneventful. The air was cool, the ground soft beneath his boots, and the trees loomed tall and silent. But as he ventured deeper, something changed. The usual sounds of the forest, chirping crickets, rustling leaves, distant hoots of owls, all faded away. An unnatural silence enveloped him, thick and oppressive. It was as if the woods were holding their breath, waiting. Liam paused, glancing around. Just a quiet night, he muttered to himself, trying to shake off the unease creeping up his spine. But then he heard it. Faint whispers, so soft they could have been mistaken for the wind. Except there was no wind. The whispers were indistinct at first, a gentle murmur that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. But as he strained to listen, he realized they were calling his name. Liam! The sound was ethereal, almost melodic, but there was something chilling about it. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice louder than he intended in the eerie stillness. The whispers didn't stop. Instead, they grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to echo between the trees, circling him like a predator stalking its prey. His heart began to race. "This isn't funny, guys," he shouted, convinced his friends were playing a cruel prank. But deep down, he knew this was no prank. The voices were too many, too otherworldly. And the longer he stood there, the closer they seemed to get. Panic set in, and Liam did the only thing he could think of. He ran. His flashlight's beam bounced wildly as he sprinted through the trees, desperate to find his way back. But the forest seemed to stretch endlessly. Every direction looked the same, and no matter how far he ran, the whispers followed, growing louder and louder. As he ran, he tripped over a gnarled root and fell hard to the ground. The flashlight flew from his hand, its beam flickering before going out entirely. Darkness swallowed him, and the whispers became deafening. They weren't just calling his name anymore, they were laughing. High-pitched, mocking laughter that sent shivers down his spine. Scrambling to his feet, Liam's hands found something cold and metallic. It was an old, rusted sign, barely legible under the faint light of his phone's screen. He wiped away the grime and read the words etched into the metal. "Welcome to Whispering Woods. No one leaves." Terror gripped him. The whispers were no longer distant. They were right behind him, hot breath brushing against his neck. He didn't dare turn around. Instead, he closed his eyes and whispered a prayer, hoping against hope that this was just a nightmare. But the woods weren't done with him. A cold hand gripped his shoulder, and the last thing he heard before everything went dark was a voice, clear and chilling. "Welcome home, Liam." Liam was never seen again. The townsfolk searched for days, but no trace of him was ever found. His friends, racked with guilt, told the authorities everything, but their story was dismissed as a fabrication. Still, the town's warnings grew louder, the tales of the Whispering Woods spreading far and wide. And the forest? It remained as silent as ever, waiting patiently for its next visitor. The whispers never stopped. They never would. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Stay spooky, and see you next time.